right, guys. We're gonna do a Wheel of Time review. Me and Adelia here has watched like the first 3 episodes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I might have the sniffles a little bit because like I said in our Discord earlier, it is colder than a witch's titty out here in Alabama right now. It's like 41, going to get freezing, and it don't happen very often here where I live because I'm at the very bottom of the state. So, other than that, Adelia, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It was pretty cold here today too. I think it's like 40 outside, so
What is like expected to be that where
it
you're
is
at?
expected to be that where I am at. That's true.
But me and Adelia here, just to let everybody know, we don't know this by the book series, right? Like I've heard
No.
of the book series, but by the time I had found out about the book series, it was so many books in, I never really got into it. So I never really cracked open the books and actually read this. So like our review is going to be basically like what we are as like say a maybe brand new fans of the series or whatnot, like not with this book knowledge and everything else that some other people may be coming at this with. uh, but with that being said, we can go ahead. I guess we can talk about some of the overview of the actual like show itself. What did you think about the first 3 episodes, Adelia?
I really like them. I was a little confused at points, and I figured that's stuff that I'll either like talk to someone who's read the books and they can explain to me better, or learn more about as we go on. But I really liked it. Like, you know me, Justin. I'm not the biggest horror person, but like fantasy violence, I'm okay with. So there are certain moments in this first episode, especially with the Trollocs attack, that I was like, oh, okay, this is a little more than I'm used to, but I thought it was really good. The design of the Trollocs is frightening, and I really do enjoy this like fantasy genre kind of stuff. This mystery of who is like the chosen one, for lack of a better term, because of the
Hmm.
trope. So it's the Dragon Reborn, I believe, in the actual language of the series. So I really enjoyed it. What about you?
I have to say that I liked it. Like I'm gonna keep watching the episodes, and not just to do the review. I mean, because like if we have a team here, so like if say I didn't like the show or whatever, then we could possibly have other people that could join us on some of our other reviews for as the show goes on. But I enjoyed it enough to keep watching it. The biggest thing, and I've talked to you about this a little bit, is the biggest thing that I saw that I don't think some people like is like we're kind of been getting spoiled with a lot of these streaming services with the way that they do TV shows and stuff, the way they film them and everything, especially like
Mm-hmm.
I brought up Disney Plus. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So obviously, you can see some of the stuff behind me there, but and also Game of Thrones. But both of those actually, like HBO Max, for instance, and Disney Plus, when they put out these shows, they put out these movie quality, like the way they film it, the way they present it is movie quality. Like you could go to a movie theater, watch a couple of episodes in The Mandalorian, for instance, and not know that you were watching a TV show. You could sit there and do that. The way that it's filmed, and like I said, the quality of it looks like it could be on the big screen. Same thing with a lot of Game of Thrones episodes. Like Battle of the Bastards and stuff like that. Could have been shown in a movie theater, and you would have thought it was just made for the movies, like it wasn't made for TV. This show to me like reminds me of back in the day when you would watch TV shows and you would be like, oh yeah, this is a TV show. Like you could see it right off the bat because it just seemed like it's going to seem like a harsh word I'm about to use, but I'm not trying to be like the super negative version of this because I'm going to say in some parts it looked kind of cheap, but not in like super negatively. It just looks cheaper than what you're getting used to seeing on some of these other things. And I
Yeah.
would expect Amazon, because that's what it's on with all the money they have, to actually probably have put more money into this. I don't know. And it's hard to lay a finger on it. It was just some of the things and some of the set pieces, some of the way things were like looked like you talked about, like uh what was they, the Trogs or
Trollocs.
Trollocs. So like those guys in particularly, like I understand why they made them move really fast and stuff because it was hard to like pinpoint things with your eyes. Because I felt like the times that they did kind of slow down, there were a couple of times where it looked okay. And I'm not a big like CGI person that can tell when things don't look right, like a lot of other people
Mm-hmm.
that we know in the space. But I still was able to see like, okay, so this is like a little subpar compared to what you would get something in like a Mandalorian or like a Game of Thrones, like HBO Max style show. I don't know if you picked up on that as well.
A little bit, yeah. Like I said that the production quality at points kind of reminds me of the show Legend of the Seeker, which is not bad, but it's
Right.
very clearly a TV show.
Right.
And so I get what you're saying on that. I do think that some of the vistas as they're writing are very beautiful, but I get what you're saying about some of the CGI ness of it. I mean, I don't really know how much it costs to do CGI or good CGI, but I think you're probably right that they're not spending as much. Amazon isn't spending as much on this as it is Disney is spending on, say, Mandalorian or any of the Marvel shows. But at the same time, we don't know. They might be saving budget stuff for other parts of this season. So
yeah, could be true because like you could tell like they tried to even on Game of Thrones series, like I kept bringing up, is they would you could tell they took some episodes off, like where one of the wolves or something like that should be next to a character wasn't in that because they were saving that up for like this big scene that was going to happen in another episode coming up or something like that. And that could be true as well on this. Like I said, I don't, it sounded negative, but it's not like super negative. I don't want it to sound like hating on it, because I think in some ways we're getting spoiled by some of these streaming services and how much money they're willing to throw into these like TV shows and IPs. I mean, you got to look at it. Star Wars, biggest IP probably ever. And Game of Thrones at the time was the most popular watched thing ever to come on TV, probably period, and whatnot. So the thing about it is too, is like I do think that this series may get hurt a little bit, and that's because of timing. Now, these books have been around for a pretty good while. I'm going to assume Lord of the Rings was out, the books and stuff, because that's an older series before this series was started.
Definitely.
And I think this series probably either started right around Star Wars, coming out and stuff. But when it comes to fantasy, one of the things that I could see that this thing, like say to newer fans like us, is like, okay, we're in a high fantasy world. Guess what the first thing is? Oh, there's a prophecy. And like, I think that like this, even though this book series has been written for years, so it's not like they went around copying people. I think the timing of them finally trying to do like a TV series after all this other stuff has been like out there for years and everything else on either motion pictures or on the TV through streaming services is going to hurt it a little bit, I think, because like, oh, people's going to automatically go, oh, this is the same old stuff, right? Like, not realizing that the books have been around for a very long time. Like even Game of Thrones has some prophecy stuff. So you just had all these shows that come up that's dealing with this fantasy style world that to me has some of the same tropes. So some people may look at it and maybe turned away from that. They may not give it a true chance. Like I do like the fact that the series started with 3 episodes and went from there, because the 3 episodes, I feel like that's my testing ground. Like I'm going to watch 3 episodes of something if I start it, just to see if I like it or not. And like I said, overall, I did like this. I don't think, I think there has been some negativity as far as like, say, well, it always is on Twitter and stuff like that, like out into the internet universe of people like kind of bashing it a little bit and stuff. But like, I'm not to that level. I'm not going to sit here and bash it. I'm going to give it a chance. What do you think about any of those things?
I think that you're right about like giving a 3-episode test to things, and I think you're also right about the very common fantasy tropes, chosen one, things like that. This book series started in 1990, so it's been around for quite a long time, but it's also like 14 books long. So it's very intimidating for a lot of people to jump into. Like, I mean, I've wanted to read this book series forever, but it's just like there's so many books, and
and I don't think they're short either. Like
they're not
short.
Like,
yeah, it's not. I don't think any of these books are like 200 pages or anything, like a breeze to go through. I think these books are like pretty long. They're pretty long novels, to be honest with you. And that's one of the things. I mean, for like to bring up an example, is the reason why I haven't started the book series is because of that simple fact. It's like 14 books long. The books are all really pretty long. The same way with like, I love the show Supernatural, but I made it through like the 4th season, like just watching it and watching it and watching it. And then I decided like, man, how many seasons does this thing have? And I realized it had like 15 to 20 seasons of 22 episodes a piece of hour-long episodes. And I was like, it was daunting. It was like, no, and I never went back to it. I watched like the first 4 seasons of Supernatural. And it's not because I don't like it. It's literally because it's like, bro, like how many times am I going to have to watch this show to watch it all? And I feel like a lot of people was the same way with the books. If I would have started this series back in 1990, I probably would have followed it all the way through and everything else. But it's because of the fact that like it started in 1990. I never picked up on it, never heard about it until it was like 9 or 10 books in. Then I was like, oh man, yeah, that's a lot to try to catch up on.
Yeah, like I want to read this book series so badly. I've had it recommended to me so many times, but it's like 14 books of that length. That's a big commitment, and I haven't had time to do that. But this
Right.
TV series is giving me an opportunity to experience the story, and I've seen some people on Twitter saying they think they're gonna maybe change who the Dragon Reborn is compared to who it is in the books, just so it's, you know, surprising to the book readers. I don't know if that's a good idea to do, to change something that seems that big of a deal, or at least has been made out to be that big of a deal in these 3 episodes. But, you know, that'll be up to the book readers to decide. I'm going to experience this show, you know, as a show, and then when it's over, I'll go read all the books and see the differences. But
I'll be honest with you. I don't think that in most of the stuff that we've watched that I brought up for examples already, like I don't think that ultimately the prophecy or who was supposed to be whatever ever is truly the most important thing. So like if that's the same way in this book series, like that it turns out that all right, so and so is the Dragon Reborn, but then it turns out not to be like what everybody thought it might be, right? Then I don't think that's probably going to be a big deal with them changing that around a little bit. But I don't know the book series. If I knew the book series, I'd be more into it. Because like another one I haven't brought up yet was Dune. Dune's got some of the same stuff that's happening, right? Like person having dreams, and there's like prophecy about that and everything else. There's just so much stuff with that kind of stuff in there that I think it kind of can hurt the series. I really like hope that a decent amount of people that actually like, you know, read the books and know the story watch our review, to be honest with you, and put some comments down, you know, telling us about some of the things that they know about the book series and everything else. And we may even have like during as the show continues, like some people that have actually known the story and read the books and stuff. But we're not going to let that stop us from doing reviews. Like if we don't have someone, like we don't have someone here on this one. But I really like I said, I came away liking it. Like always grade things 1 to 10 whenever I do stuff on this channel, but even in real life, like when I'm kind of looking at things, and 5 is directly in the middle, like I'm lukewarm. I don't really like it or dislike it. I'm just right in the middle. Really probably can't even decide. Maybe I need to rewatch some of the stuff to find out. This I'm not super high on so far. Like it's not like I'm saying this is a 9 or this is an 8, you know, coming out of the gate first 3 episodes, but it's around that 6 and 6.5. So I like it. And which, because I fall on that line, even though that doesn't sound like a very high score, it's high enough for me to like keep watching it to see where it goes, because I realize there's potential in this show. There's a couple of things that I like that they're trying to set up a little bit in the story as a whole. There's enough interesting things to be like, oh, I want to know a little bit more about these like white coats. I think they called them during the one of the episodes. I want to know a little bit more about these, like I don't know, I can't remember the name of the thing, but the one that rode the horse that was that was basically leading the horde, that has like almost like a faceless or whatever.
The Fade.
Yeah, and those guys were kind of interesting. So I want to see like what they're about and everything else. So they still it got my interest level.
Or the Eyeless, one of the two.
Yeah, but those characters got my interest level peaked. Yeah. I do think that another thing that I'm trying to decide on whether I like her or not is like what I would consider, especially in these first 3 episodes, the like besides Rand, that character, the leader, the lady with like the actual like ring, she can do the magic already. Yeah, so like I'm trying to decide if I like her acting or not. Like I don't think it's atrocious or anything or like even bad, but I don't know if I like the way like she acted. And maybe she's having to act that way because the character's supposed to be that way. So I haven't really made up my mind on that. I think that might be another weak point. But and I'm not as excited about the White Tower right now. They're making a big deal about getting to the White Tower and everything else on the show. I don't know how interested I am in that, but I am interested in a lot of other things that were going on, like the deserted town they showed up at. That was pretty cool. Just like some of those nuances that's inside the story. Like I'm really wanting the main thing, which I guess would be the White Tower, and getting there. Really doesn't pique my interest very much right now. They haven't, like, to me, set that up very well, or because the other stuff to me, I'm like, yo, what's this thing riding around with these Trollocs or whatever the heck they're called? I have to start getting these characters and like things, Trollocs or whatever, like those guys. That stuff interested me enough, and that they've always been here for like a long time, because obviously during parts of the story, people would always like, oh man, Trollocs, like, never seen them this far south or this far west or east or whatever, like, so people knew about them and stuff. So they've been there for a while. It's not like a new thing that just popped up. And I kind of like the wisdoms. Like, I guess they're kind of like these, like, people that are sort of, as close to like the magical ladies that you could possibly be, but they're not. I thought that was kind of cool as well. Like, just, I guess, name through some of the stuff that you liked, or, whatever with the show.
I'm really liking like the 4 young villagers that are with Moraine and the other guy whose name I think is Lan. I thought they each have interesting different characteristics that I really like. Like, I like that Egwene is the one who was going to train to be a wisdom, and that her deciding to do that sort of broke Rand's heart, but he is trying to just deal with that and move on. I like that we've got like the guilt, I guess I would say, of Perrin, who is the one that accidentally killed his wife.
Yeah, that was shitty. Like, you can't blame him, but how much guilt he would have to have for like, doing that.
Yeah. And then Matt, the other guy, I think is really interesting. His name cracks me up, that it's just all these fantasy names, and then we have Matt. That sort of stuff always cracks me up. But I've really liked all 4 of them so far. I hear what you're saying about Rosamund Pike's acting as Moraine. She seems very detached so far, but that might just be, like you said, how the character's supposed to be. I'm interested in this, like, finding the White Tower more so than you, but also at this point, like, they're going in 3 separate directions, it looks like. So I don't think we'll be like getting to the White Tower anytime soon. That seems to me like a maybe season finale kind of thing, but I could be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, and there's different things that was also that I like to point out, like during the episodes that I really liked. We had the bartender there where Rand and basically I like to look at him as like the thief, basically, because he doesn't ever want to work or anything. He tries to find some kind of cheap way to get money. Yeah. And there's one scene where he goes and to pickpocket a dead man, basically, and the singer that we see in this town that was singing when they first walked in the tavern comes out. Now, his character seemed pretty cool, so I hope that's not the last that we see of that guy. I don't think it is. And but yeah, like the bartender ended up being someone who was trying to help the dark, I guess, like the
dark
overall
friend. She was a dark friend who's trying to help the Dark One, I think is what they said, who is like the person Moraine is trying to find the Dragon Reborn so that the Dragon Reborn can stop. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And like she sets him up and everything, and gets in like a tussle and a fight with him and everything. And then the singer is really good, skilled with a knife, basically, because he throws it and hits it right through the throat. That was that was pretty rad. I thought that was pretty neat. But like I said, there's things in here that they set up that I'm interested enough in to find out more. And to be honest with you, when you lay out a show, when you lay out a TV show, anything like this, especially to a new audience, that's the thing that you're hoping for.
Yeah.
If you can knock their socks off, if you can hit it out the park, first 3 episodes, like, that's great. But your main purpose is to like get to interest level up there. Like people like, so I guess they did the 3 episodes this week. Then I could think they're going to go to 1 episode a week following this. So like people are going to be like, you know what? Maybe they don't watch it immediately on Friday when it comes out. I think that's the night so it's going to be coming out. But like maybe over the weekend, they're like, hey, let's find out. Because they're kind of interested. I kind of want to find out like if they're going to get to this White Tower, or find out if they're going to like, any of these other things like happens. Like, because like I said, I think they did set up enough stuff to pique my interest enough to stay with the show. Now, they're, like I said, they didn't knock it out of the park. So they are going to have to add to that each episode to me to be able to keep my interest and want me to, and having me want to watch it and you know, whatnot. Because there's a bunch of things that's the biggest problem in any entertainment now, even with us on YouTube, is like there's so many people, so many things out there that you could watch, that you could go to, get your information on, and all that. So like, and that's the same thing going on with all these streaming services, even with movies that's coming out and everything else. Is like, you're going up against a lot. So you have to at least gain that interest level enough to have people stay at least with that to watch it. But I do like the game plan and the layout that they're doing. I do like the couple of episodes first. I think Hawkeye, we're filming this on a Tuesday. And Hawkeye, I think, comes out, you said tonight at midnight. Mm-hmm. They're releasing like 2 episodes, and then it's one episode a week after that. I think that's one of that perfect medium, because like you first get to watch it. I got to binge these 3 episodes, for instance, right? So you get to do a little of that, and then you get to do the waiting game and watch and be able to let everything sink in. I think this is a show that needs that. I don't think this is a good binging show, to be honest with you, because I do think that this show has so much information it's trying to put out there and so many things happening at one time that you probably do need to sit back and think about, like, what's going on, like, why is this probably happening, and that kind of thing. Unlike some other TV shows, you can just sit down and binge, have a fun time, and it doesn't matter. But with that being said, it does have my interest. I am going to turn it back on. I will watch it this coming up weekend, the 4th episode. But yeah, do you have anything else like to add, or any key points you wanted to point out that you either liked or disliked?
I've liked pretty much everything so far. Except, like I said, those few moments where the violence got a little more than I'm used to.
I loved it.
I know you did. I had no doubt in my mind that you know some of the scenes I'm referring to, and you love them. I really am looking forward to more of this. I like this world that has sort of slowly built in all of this. Like, maybe I'm not fully on board with the whole like quest of the Aes Sedai yet, which is who Moraine is, but I really like the world building and this Wheel of Time they keep mentioning, like the name of the series. Like, what exactly is the Wheel of Time? I'm curious about that, because they said whoever this person is going to be broke the world or something. So there's a lot of things that I'd like to know more about. And so I'm obviously going to keep watching. This kind of fantasy genre stuff is my jam. So
I don't know. If I had to guess on the Wheel of Time thing and the way that they mentioned stuff, I don't know if it truly means anything, to be honest with you. And it may mean a lot, right? Like, but I think the Wheel of Time is like, in this kind of a fantasy world that it seems to me like they built, like when you are normally born into something, you're born into something. And it's like this wheel that just keeps continually spinning, but it always goes back, you know, to the same spot and comes back around. It comes back around. So like if you're a farmer, you know, and whatnot, you're going to have kids that are going to be farmers, and their kids are going to be farmers, and their kids are going to be, it just keeps going and going and going and going. And so like the people that have, right, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like, I've actually, you know, thinking about it now, I think it's kind of cool because it actually kind of resembles, you know, what we live in today, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because in this world, the people that have, they're always going to have. It's never going to change. It's always going to be that group of people that have, where all these other people are struggling to just try to live life and everything else. And they just can't really, they can't break it, right? They can't break through. You have these 4 characters, which are going to be interesting because they would be all these different things. Like one was going to be a blacksmith. One was going to be, I don't know, whatever. Like I said, probably just a thief or whatever. Rand was like, looked like going to be like a farmer or something like that. And then you talked about his lady friend that was going to be like one of the wisdoms and stuff like that. So like I said, it's kind of like this thing that just keeps circling around, kind of like our real life today. It seems like the haves, the people that have a lot, is always going to be the ones that have a lot, you know, and it's going to keep passing through their family and stuff like that. And they're just going to be this small group of 1%, you know, of America. 1%, the top 1% owns most of the wealth, more than the rest of the 99%. Yeah. And it's never going to go anywhere unless something breaks in that system. If something were to break in that system, then maybe that gets spread out more evenly or something like that, or things change or other people just step up into the 1%. You know, you never know what's going to happen. And I think that's kind of like a metaphor they were using in this thing, right? Like, so this guy, the Dragon Reborn, comes and like he's going to do something that changes the landscape, that lets people break out of the mold, that lets people like that may have been a certain thing become something else, and all this stuff. Maybe it's a way to rise up to be a hero, you know, and show your bravery and stuff, like, you know, and that kind of thing. So I don't know. That's just something I'm kind of getting from it. I just think it's something that's probably going to be used throughout the series. It's probably used throughout the series of books to kind of remind people of why these 4 characters, especially, and a few others they'll probably add down the road, why they're so important. Because they usually would be stuck into that wheel of time, but they're like these 4, almost like divergence in the MCU, to where they're not on the wheel anymore. They're kind of like going somewhere else because of what's happening. And maybe we come to find out, like, you know, how great that is and how great their story is. With this many books, is shoot, I don't know how in the world, like does any of these people die? Do they survive throughout the whole thing? Like, that's just craziness. That's a lot of material to go over.
It's a lot to go over. I'm looking forward to it, though. They've renewed this for a 2nd season already, and I think I heard something somewhere about them maybe renewing it for a 3rd. So Amazon's obviously very pleased with how it went, but
They know more than us.
Yeah, they
know. You got to look at it. The people that put the money out there, they know more than us. They've seen all of it.
Yeah,
they don't have to wait like we have to wait. So maybe they got their footing, right? Like, that's one thing I can say about some shows. Sometimes there are shows that struggle a little bit at the very beginning or whatever to kind of find like what it is, the footing and everything else. And then like they find that, and it becomes like this super great and you know, show, and that people like truly love and everything. Even with that being said, and like I said, I don't think they struggled that much. I just don't think they did enough in the first 3 episodes to be like that, to hit that home run, to be like, to have me go to my other friends and say, look, you have to watch this because this is so amazing. It was good. And if somebody asked me about it, I'll say like, yeah, man, it was pretty good. You could give it a chance, but it wasn't so like great at that very first 3 episodes that I went and like texted people or hunted people like, yo, you got to watch this, man. This is actually good. Like it to that level. And that's what I think. But maybe that changes, you know, like down the road. Like I said, Amazon knows what it is. This is a great IP because there's a lot of people that actually like love this book series and everything. So they're going to try to follow the show and be behind it. So that's another thing to look at there. Like I was surprised. One of our most watched like reactions was we did a trailer reaction of this, and we didn't even put it out timely. We put it out a little late, and it still did really good. As far as that goes on our channel. So that was actually great and wonderful. So that made me realize, oh, damn, there is a lot of people that know and love this franchise, like a lot more than what you would think. So I do think this is a great IP for Amazon to have and try to build something with, but they do have to be careful because I do think they have to build it up the correct way. Because if they can, then you're looking at a possibility. I don't know if anything's ever going to reach like Star Wars levels, but you possibly could reach Lord of the Rings levels, Game of Thrones levels of popularity with that IP. So I'm just going to be sitting here waiting and seeing, and I am going to be watching it. So far right now, they haven't done anything bad enough for me to like give up on the series. And like I said, they did pique my interest in multiple ways.
Yeah, same here. I can't wait to see more of this, actually. I'm really looking forward to Friday's episode.
Nice. I mean, because like I said, like you're really positive. I'm kind of like a little bit above medium, you know, on it. And like I said, there was some pushback I saw like on the anytime you do something like this, you got to be careful because those people that did read the books, they're going to be watching this show and they're going to hold you accountable for it. So like, but also like those people that read those books and stuff, like, hey man, like let it progress. Let's see what happens and everything else from here. But it is super difficult, even doing it like a TV show style. It is going to be difficult to portray anytime a book onto film or to TV shows, period. Because like when you read it, you have your own imagination. You picture everything in your own way. And
Yeah.
that's always going to be different than what's going to be put on the screen in front of you, because that's someone else's imagination. That's someone else's, the way they see things. So it's always going to be different, but that's always why it's like pretty great to have stuff like that going on. But unless you have something else, I think we're going to call it there. And we'll definitely be back sometime this coming up weekend after Friday's episode drops to talk about it a little more. And like I said, guys, a couple of things real quick. We got the Patreon. You can join that. If you join it by $1, you get to join our Discord where we talk about anything. You can see on our channel, we talk about almost anything: wrestling, sports, reviews on shows and movies, reactions to both. But we pretty much cover it all, even a thing called the Movie Trivia Schmodown. But for only $1, you can join our Discord and even get closer to us and everything else. We also have the YouTube channel. Obviously, that's where you're going to be watching this on. If you will, like and subscribe to that. We do some things over at Twitch at LGR Network over there on the Twitch feeds. And we also do all these podcasts. Every show we do is put in podcast form also by Let's Get Ready on the Apple and Spotify and all the big ones, even the small ones.
Links are in the description.
Yep. So yeah, Adelia is on top of that. So all that stuff will be in the description and everything else. And like I said, unless you got anything else, until next week, peace.